For today's video, we will be going to talk about China is falling apart, protest everywhere, energy crisis. Let's get started. Another cyclone has hit the economy. It is a level 5 and is en route to China. Officially, China is in a dark era, though probably not one you are picturing. It will be a long winter for China because this one is worse. The entire economy is on the verge of collapsing, which is putting a lot of strain on the nation. This time, it's not about property market issues arising from the several developers who are in muddy waters because of their massive debt. No, this time it's about China paying more than it bargained for. China is dealing with yet another issue, and this one is directly impacting its manufacturing beast. It's a power issue, electric power and trade power. If China does not issue new reforms, this might be the last time we speak of China's market crash before it happens. China is expecting a major electricity crisis, which has caused millions of families and businesses to experience power outages. China has been in the dark due to widespread outages. The industrial centers of northeastern China took the most hit, which had an impact on the rest of the world. Conclusion: China's government has been being a restrictive its economy through a variety of measures targeted at various sectors, but with disastrous outcomes. Although they have been referred to as shared prosperity policies, not much prosperity has yet resulted from them. The red lines regulation in the housing market exposed developers to Ponzi scheme, which resulted in many developer defaults and the exposure of Evergrande's well-known debt. The crackdown on coal production emissions, coupled with the trade war with Australia, spiraled into a wave of massive blackouts in the manufacturing sector. This has slowed the economy's level of output amid post-coronavirus lockdown demand. These local moves are arising everyone globally and exposing how a petty reaction can cause a tidal wave. China's designer cocktail of environmental controls, supply constraints, and soaring electricity controls have left the economy tipsy. It is walking on a tightrope with the power supply crunch and the housing market death. One misstep and it's Friday the 13th for China. But because China is so well ingrained in many other economies, it cannot fall without pulling the rest of us down. The crash is coming, and little old Aussie is not as little as China thought. Just ask the blackouts. The war on coal. Beijing's previous war on coal regulation was designed to cut carbon emissions with the aim of making China carbon neutral by 2060. The country was the only significant polluter to report higher emissions in 2020 than in 2019. As a result, coal production has decreased. However, because coal accounts for the majority of China's energy needs, the government's declaration of war against coal imports to Australia was no simple matter. Worldwide product demand rose, but electrical demand lagged behind. The demand for coal increased along with the need for electricity. However, due to the strong demand and little supply of coal, the price of coal skyrocketed. China's government controls electricity prices to manage inflation. Because of this, coal-fired power plants have been struggling to maintain a profit, given the surging coal prices. Higher coal prices means higher expenses. But the price of electricity is managed, so manufacturers have to swallow this cost. Unwilling to operate at a loss, many plants decided to reduce their output instead, causing most of China to have many dark nights and manufacturing to slow. Recently, the shock of these power shortages has caused China to rethink its emission policies. China has decided to revive coal mines to meet the demand for coal. Managing emissions has become less of a priority, if the price for this is the entire manufacturing sector. The government is also reviewing the price ceiling on electricity, hoping that this will lessen the demand for electricity for industrial consumers. China is also thinking about boosting its purchases of foreign petroleum, although it still has tense trade relations with nations like Australia and the United States. China even made the decision to take some of the coal from these stranded Australian ships. The embargo on Australian coal hasn't been removed yet, though. However, it's possible that China won't be able to weather this cyclone with just these tactics. The Chinese government has urged coal miners to increase production in the final 3 months of the year. Over the next 3 months, the industry has been required to deliver 100 million tons of coal and more than 12 million tons each day. China may see its greatest winter power shortfall since 2010 if the goal is not met. Stagflation is expected to follow this outcome if it does. The majority of industrial businesses may collapse as energy prices increase, severely hurting the already precariously balanced Chinese economy. Still, coal outputs needs to rise faster to keep pace with demand. China must call a truce with Australia. China has resorted to buying Australia's top-quality coal through third-party countries while relations are strained with Australia. This has resulted in them obtaining the same coal that Australia used to supply them, but at a premium, adding to the growing coal prices. The only thing China is saving here is face, but their budget is getting KO'd by their pride. Australian trade war. Aussie for the win, China made the decision to ban coal imports from Australia in 2020, pending strained relations between China and Australia, after Australia publicly asked for a WHO investigation in China on the origin of COVID. China took offense at this and sparked a trade war between the two countries. Ships holding China's large supply of coal from Australia were stranded for almost a year at sea after China refused to accept this import. This was meant to be China's punishment for Australia's unwelcome comment. China, though, had unknowingly taken on more than it could handle. It turned out that China's perceived trade advantage over Australia was incredibly weak. They were more reliant on coal from Australia, and the ban on Australia had been implemented too soon. This action upset China's coal supply, whose economy relies heavily on coal for its electricity. Australia is now winning the joke. Impact on the rest of the world. Impact on the rest of the world. The demand for electricity in China and the supply have failed to be managed at equilibrium, causing large shortages in China. As the world starts to reopen after the pandemic, demand for Chinese goods is surging. China has one of the largest manufacturing industries in the world, and the demand to match it. The factories manufacturing worldwide goods require more significant supplies of energy to service production. If output increases, inputs will also increase, and electricity is a key input in this modern-day, machine-driven manufacturing society. It's likely the first time that most manufacturing facilities have regretted switching from workers to machines. Even a small amount of production is preferable to none at all. China has the second-largest economy in the world and one of the biggest manufacturing sectors. China is typically the starting point and the final destination of most supply network. The global supply networks are expected to be impacted by the disruptions, particularly as we approach the Christmas shopping season. The Grinch might be the only person who enjoys Christmas. China's current state might cause global inflation, as people rush to buy things that they think will soon run out if China's production slows. Longer delays in manufacturing fulfillment have been reported, and some countries are even moving their manufacturing from China, due to their doubts about China's ability to maintain output in light of the power outages that affected major Chinese factories. International investment banks also lowered their economic growth projections implications for China. According to Goldman Sachs, power outages may have had an impact on up to 44% of the nation's industrial activities due to the severe negative pressure China is experiencing. It has lowered its previous forecast of 8.2% to 7.8% for this year. The events behind Australia's ban on China also revealed that Australia has a more direct impact on China's economy than everyone thought. The continued stubbornness of China on having a trade war with Australia is a lost case. The continued stubbornness of China on having a trade war with Australia is a lost cause. China relies on coal and Australia has the best quality coal. China should just take the L before the cold winter brings them to their senses. China in dark. Some people are happier than others. These four provinces, Guangdong in south, Heilongjiang, Jilin, and Liaoning in the northeast, have experienced the greatest power outages and have been the most distressed in all of China. The most severe impact of the blackouts has been on manufacturing enterprises with energy-intensive production equipment. These sectors include the manufacture of fertilizer, cement, steel, and aluminum, all of which paradoxically have the highest levels of global demand. People living in Liaoning, Jilin, and Heilongjiang provinces have also complained on social media about the lack of heating in winter. Lifts and traffic lights are not working. Let's just say this is the darkest we have seen in China yet. We, on the other hand, will not keep you in the dark with worldwide updates on global economic and financial news. In the past, businesses in significant manufacturing regions were urged to use less energy when demand was at its highest. Additionally, the government recommended limiting the number of days they are open. This request, however, is meaningless in light of the current rise in demand. Oh, the leaking will undoubtedly occur. The only way to prevent it is, of course, forced lights out. If you enjoyed this video, please press the like button, turn on the notification bell, and subscribe to Wealth-ology for more videos like this. Thank you for stopping by to watch. See you in our next video.